Welcome to Automators Industrial Projects. I'm Santosh, and in this video I will explain you about SCL introduction part. So SCL is a structured control language, and it contains Pascal language elements as well as PLC elements like inputs and outputs, especially suitable for complex algorithms. So it's an optional software per step 7. So let's start with an example. So go to sources, right click, insert new object, select SCL source, and you can rename it as per your requirement. So I have already prepared some example where I can explain you about the editor and how we have to program in it. So in this editor table, you can we can call a function block, OB, and etc. And you can also see the templates here, block templates. You can call it from here, the default templates. For example, if I call FC, you see there's a template, and here you have to write an FC number, and it gives a return value. It could be an integer as per your program requirement, or a boolean. And if you don't want to give some return value, just make it void. So, and here you define the variables like temporary variables, input, output, etc. So, and I also want to share some information about this here. You can also see first he is returning the value integer. So a integer, input A and B, and if A is greater than B, then he returns the FC1 value with 1. If A is less than B, then he returns the FC1 with the value 10. And if it is void, then you just have to define the variable where you want to store the output. So this was about the return value and void. So I show you the both examples how to use this int or bool or void. So let's go to an example. Okay, here this example is if the range is to check if the range is in between high range or low range. If the in range is greater than high range, then the result should be high range. If the in range is less than low range, then the result should be low range. And if it is not greater than high range or less than low range, then it should be in range itself. The input should be in range. So let's start with an int here. That means the function returns that range result, returns the value integer. So as you see, if in range is greater than high range, then the range result should store the high range value. Else if in range is less than low range, then range result should store the low range value. Else it should display the same value. So let's simulate it. So before that, you should always make sure that you use a proper symbolic name, and also the semicolons, that even if a small semicolon is missed, then it's messed out. You see there are 9 errors and 1 warning, so always show. So save this, and this is a compilation. We compiled with 0 errors and 0 warnings, and here we have a download option and partial load. The partial load normally we use when we want to for example, if this FC is connected with a share DB and you don't want to download the share DB, then you can partially load the FC. Okay, and this is for monitoring. So let's call this, I think this is already called here, the range result you see. Now high range is 200, low range is 100, and we are giving the in range value as 25. So 25 is less than 100, so the output, the return value is 100. If it is greater than 200, that is 250, then you see it should show the high range value, that because it's greater than high range. And if it is less than 100, it should show the low range value, you see 100. And if it is in between them, then it should show the input in range itself. So let's put it as 150, you see it's 150. So this was with the return value, you see this was with the return value. And now if you want to make without return value, we go to other program here. Here instead of int, I have used void and have assigned a variable output where I store this high range and low range value in this result. You see in range is greater than high range, then store this high range in the result. If it is less than low range, then store this low range in the result, else show the in range in the result. So let's see the both program here, and here you see I also give the same value. You see 150, 150, and if I make it more than high range, you see 250. Here also you see 200, because here it's high range is 250, here high range is 200. So this is how we make a program. So this was a simple example. In next videos we can start with the advanced. So this was the editor table. So hope you guys are clear about the return value and the void function, and also how to start with the basic programming in the SCL language. Thank you for watching this video. If you have any queries, please write it down in the comment box. Thank you for watching.